Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a huge favor. Smash that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever platform you're using. It helps us grow. Can't thank you enough. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us at Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Reddit and Discord. And don't forget to leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
Let's get right into it. Winnipeg Blue Bomber talk. Let's talk about last game. It was a win and I sighed. It was a win and I sighed. What's one word that you'd use to describe last game?
Roller coaster, and basically roller coaster of emotions. Like, it was all over the place. Great start to the game. Fantastic first half. Ended on a bit of a sour note with the interception when they could have probably got 3 more there. But the second half was just the other way around. You know, in that first drive from Ottawa, which was a devastating 8-minute drive, missed tackles, second and longs, and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, the comeback, and then the Bombers ultimately kicking that field goal for the win. So, yeah, it was just up and down type of game for emotions.
That's a good one. I'll say fortunate. Yeah, roller coaster, you said, right?
Yeah.
I'll say fortunate. The Bombers were fortunate to get out of that game with a win.
Yeah.
They had to deal with Crum, which should have been a blessing. But again, it was a curse. This time coming in for relief. Last time, remember when he played in Ottawa? It was a start. And the Bombers were up in that game, 18-0. And now the Bombers are up in this game for the second week in a row, 17-0. And when that happened, I texted you. I'm like, remember that before, from the week before? And Ottawa took momentum. Caleros, then the Pimpleton return, and then the Caleros gives the ball back right after that. And it's like, my goodness, they are so fortunate to have come away. Defense pulled up big on that one. So Bombers fortunate last week. That's my word.
Yeah, Dembski was wide open on that late interception too. Like, he had a step on his guy, underthrow. And then you got to almost thank Ottawa for messing up those last 2 plays where they went for the throw and then went for the run and still left Bombers time on the clock. It's like, Bobby Dice kind of screwed that one up, altogether. Like, so fortunate's a great word, really, on that, right? Because Bombers had that game in the bag. Even that drive in the second to start the second half where Drew Brown ended up getting hurt, how he escaped on that play when you had Kyrie Wilson and Willie Jefferson surrounding him. Like, to me, it's just, I don't know.
That was fortunate.
Yeah. The attention to detail this year is kind of odd with the Bombers. Like, you didn't see these plays or these missed plays, especially on defense over the last few years. They've missed a lot of tackles. I don't know what the stat is or anything on that, but it's got to be pretty high so far.
Maybe attention to detail in the front office as well in the offseason.
Yeah, it could be.
Thoughts on Mike O'Shea going for the late field goal that led to the tying touchdown? Horrible. You have to look at the flow of the game and how Ottawa has been playing up to that point and how they've been scoring. They needed a TD to tie the game with not much time left. All 3 of their TD drives were at least 4 minutes. One of them was over 8 minutes. Like, of course, things can change. Of course, maybe they can hit a big play, but I think they hit one big play all game. That was 40 yards in the first quarter. None of them since. And none of them since Drew Brown was out of the game. So I think in that situation, you have to take all of that into consideration. And it does not seem, obviously, I don't know. I can't look into Mike O'Shea's head. But it doesn't seem that, and special teams coach, I forget his name, but all of that has to be taken into consideration, how Ottawa has had difficulty in scoring, and it's taken them a long time to get down the field and score. I think at that point, trust the defense, pin them deep with Sheehan and the good job he was doing in directional punting. And on field goal, you have big guys out there who can't cover that. And we talked about Pimpleton and the possibility of returning. That was a little too much trust in Castillo and not enough taking into consideration the scenario and what's happened up to this point in the game.
Yeah, totally agree there. I have tons of faith in Sergio Castillo. Obviously, the guy hit his 63. He had the distance on this. But to me, the better play, again, would have been try to pin them. Like you say, Ottawa, they scored long drives in this game, but they took their time doing it. It wasn't a huge one big chunk play down the field. That first drive was 8, 9 minutes, almost 8 minutes at least, right?
Yes.
And then the
Yes.
other drives by Crum, he needed time. And now you got to force him to go 80 to 100 yards, possibly somewhere in that range. And I agree with you. Even on the kick, the field goal attempt, the guys got downfield, but they all paused, and they waited for Pimpleton to make that move, and he did. Sheehan was right there, and bad positioning on that.
Yeah.
All other guys just kind of stopped. And you, like you say, field goal kicks are different. You got big guys on that field. You got guys that can block. They're not necessarily great at tackling and speed wise.
Yes.
So, but it's funny you say that. Take all this into consideration, because there was a quote, I tried to find it quickly right now, where O'Shea kind of said, yeah, I probably should have thought about this a little more and took a little bit more factors, looked at all the factors and kind of figured that out instead. At least if you punt it and they return the punt, okay, like it is what it is, but you're giving them a better opportunity by this missed field goal. So I don't like it. I don't even like the 2nd and 3. Sorry, I didn't mind the 2nd and 3 call with Strevler in there. I don't like the play execution. Ottawa was ready for it. This is where you could have had Strevler even step back and just lob a short 3-yard pass to someone to get that first down and put this game away. Really, I mean, we shouldn't have been lining up for that field goal in the first place if the play calling and the execution wasn't so suspect in that play.
Or give it to the reigning MOP and Canadian Brady Oliveira, who averaged.
He did get stuffed pretty good on a play earlier in that game, though.
I'm still gambling more with Oliveira on that than I am putting Strevler behind the O-line.
Is it? Do you think O'Shea was looking at the defense and going, they're not going to be able to make a stop? I better try this field goal?
Like I said before, long drives. They have yet to break the defense for a big play, and they had less than a minute to score.
Yeah.
A little frustrating.
They're lucky they got away with it.
With that win, who are your offensive, defensive, and special teams players of the game? You can go first with the offense.
Nick Demski. Got to give it to him. Six catches, 128 yards. Guy was clutch. Again, we talked about it, wide open on that play downfield, which would have gone for either a huge gain or a touchdown, right? And it's funny watching his press conference, or not his interview after, where he's putting the blame basically on himself, and it's like, dude, and it was kind of unfortunate because it did bounce off his arm and into the Ottawa guy's hand, but I still don't blame Demski for that, man. The guy ran his route and he was open. So yeah, he's definitely my offensive player of the game.
Yeah, he's part of that culture. He's part of that O'Shea culture. He won't put on the other dude. Second 100-yard game of the season. I thought he had more. He had one at 97, but for some reason I thought he had more. On a bit of a resurgence, but not really. It's like, yeah, this is what Nick Demski can do. 6 of 9 receptions out of 9 targets, averaging over 20 yards per catch. Just go to more. Go to more. Without a doubt, offensive player of the game. Defense, I'm going to go with Tony Jones. I'm going to continue to sing the praises of Tony Jones. The man is a tackling machine. 11 tackles, 2 in the backfield, including a stuff on a 3rd and 1 in the first quarter that stopped Ottawa on a scoring drive. Man, Tony Jones.
I had Evan Holm down because interception and some clutch knockdowns. When he was down on the field, hurt. I was holding my breath because I was like, oh, God, we don't need this. But yeah, solid game from him. I do want to give a shout out to Jake Thomas because we've ragged on him quite a bit this year. And he was stellar in this game, or maybe stellar is too strong of a word, but he was very good. A couple run stops or big plays in the backfield by Jake Thomas.
Evan Holm definitely made up for tackling.
Yes.
7 tackles by a DB. That's great too. And yes, Jake Thomas, shout out. Made me eat my words. And I'm always happy to eat those words in those situations.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Heck yeah, there's still some juice in that tank. Hopefully more left in the season. Special teams, who you got?
I'm going with Sergio. Again, clutch. And I know, hey, he missed the 57-yarder. I don't blame him on that one. It's a tough kick. You can't expect the guy to be perfect from 50 and beyond kind of thing. Just because he hit a 63 doesn't mean he's going to hit it regularly. Yeah. So I still give it to Sergio for having that miss and then being able to come back less than a minute later to hit the winner.
And that's the thing. Going back to that missed field goal, when you have a guy that hits field goals like that consistently. You saw him do a 63 or like 57. Yeah, he might make it. And it was one of those field goals that it did look good at the beginning.
Yeah.
So for sure they were caught looking at that ball without actually pursuing downfield and making sure that's covered. For sure they were looking, because I would have been looking.
Yeah, and they're thinking we trust he's clutch, right? He's not going to miss, and you kind of get caught up in that, and then it's too late to realize. People didn't get touched, did he? From what I remember, right?
Barely. He went like down the sideline. Maybe a hand touched him down there.
Yeah.
Special teams for me, Jamison Sheehan, actually. Great directional punting. Ottawa, Pimpleton, and they had someone else back there, Adiobe. I said that wrong. I'll try again next week. We're pinned on the sideline for much of the game.
Yes.
Without much room to maneuver. So shout out for me for Jamison Sheehan.
Great. You know what? I'll mention his name because he got called for 2 weird pass interference calls. Cam Allen, the rookie at safety. Great, pretty good debut for him. Like he had solid coverage on those 2 plays. What's with Mike O'Shea and not challenging anything?
Some people want to give him the pass because of the play spotter, but there's no way that Ray or Benny from home should be able to spot that as a bad pass interference, and they can't spot that on the field as a bad pass interference.
Yeah, there was those. There was one later in the game where Ottawa kind of mugged Wheatfall a bit. Yep. There was a face mask. I can't remember on who that they didn't end up calling, and he didn't challenge that either.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on this year. Like he's afraid to challenge, or he's like, I need to save my timeouts. I mean, I guess having the timeout helped in this case, but
for the info.
You got to take a look at this stuff, and you got to gamble sometimes.
And that
not on 57-yard field
quick. That info's got to come quick.
Exactly. Yeah.
What are your initial thoughts on Taylor Elgersma's performance? If you're a betting man, is he going to stick with Green Bay? If I'm a betting man, I'm not betting on him sticking with Green Bay. Mainly because I got suckered when Nathan Rourke looked good in the NFL. And he was doing some good business in the preseason, made some good plays, made some touchdown drives, and look what happened. He went flounder. So maybe Elgersma, I don't think, just because they have that other backup that knows the system, I think Elgersma might be expendable that way. I don't know if they're willing to take that much of a risk, especially with Malik Willis there. So I'm going to say no. My heart says he will make that team, but my wallet would not put bank on it.
I think he is going to stick because the other guy, where's his name? Clifford. Can't find his first name now here, has been there for at least a couple of years. So Sean Clifford. So you actually kind of know what you got already in him, right? And to me, stats wise, oh my God, Elgersma has looked good stat wise. And I know LaFleur came out and said he threw a couple balls that he shouldn't, and all that kind of stuff, and saying, hey, you can't throw this ball. But I feel like he's going to stick either there or he'll bounce around some practice squad rosters as well. I mean, you look at the Niners, right? Right now, LaFleur offense is pretty much the same as Shanahan. You got Purdy and Mac Jones is hurt. They got their third stringers are terrible, right? A lot of injuries going on there, so they may need a guy that they have to sit somewhere on the practice roster just in case. So
Steelers.
Yeah. So there's options out there. And the guy, I mean, he's put up some numbers and he's still young. So yeah, why not take a chance and see what he does? I hope he doesn't. I'd love for him to be with the Bombers by the end of the season and see what he can do. But I think he's sticking.
He'll be in the NFL somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Demerio Houston's signing?
I'm okay with it, but at the same time, I kind of wish they didn't have to do it. I know he got cleared or the charges expunged and all that stuff, but usually when these things happen, there is something more behind it. Just because charges don't end up getting dropped doesn't necessarily mean it didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, I get why they're doing it. Injury wise, he's also he knows the system, and I trust O'Shea and the Bombers that they did enough investigation. What did he say? Integrity or need will never trump integrity, right? So I trust the Bombers on that. I just wish it didn't have to go that way.
I wish he never said that. Need will never trump integrity. I wish he never said that, because on the coach's show, he went on to say that they trusted that the league did their due diligence. That means they did not
Ooh,
go beyond what the league had gone and the league gave the okay.
that's not
Okay,
cool then.
I get that. But with domestic violence, that's a little different. I think you have to do the vet. I think you have to vet that properly. It has to go beyond, oh, he was here for his first 2 years, so we know him as a person well. And the CFL said it was okay. What that process is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But either that comment should not have been made, or you have to do more work on your end beyond relying on the CFL doing their job. Because the CFL doing their job, not a very good track record.
No.
Not a very good track record. They just let a gambler who everyone says that was a cardinal sin, they let a gambler back in. The Chad Kelly situation, that was a huge fumble. So am I going to rely on the CFL to do their due diligence beyond no, I'm not. So I'm honestly a little disappointed. The team needs it, but the response from Mike O'Shea and the information available on what they did, I'm a little uncomfortable with that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, now that you say that, I totally missed his comments on that. But knowing that as well, I'm with you on that. It's like you had to do your own due diligence. Like the Bombers had to do their due diligence on this. Like you said, trusting the league to do that. Because I mean, if it comes out where, hey, he did do this, or he does get charged again for something in the future, that's not going to be a good look. And that again, it's not good for O'Shea either, because now you're saying need will never trump integrity. Well, if something happens down the line, that looks like it did, right?
Absolutely.
There has to be other options out there,
Yeah.
so yeah, kind of disappointing to hear that on this.
I would have rather heard that, yes, we've known we've been in DB trouble since week 2, and we've looked at the situation and we've been monitoring that situation in depth since that time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm hoping it's all good. I believe in people getting second chances, but specifically in regards to this situation, doing due diligence, I don't think it was there on the organization's part.
That's yeah. Oof.
Speaking of the organization, we're at the midpoint. They're 5-4. We're going to give some grades to coaching, defense or offense, special teams, defense, and then special teams. Whatever. Here it is. Let's start off with coaching. I'm the coaching. It's all coaching. Offense, C. Passable, but not impressive. You know, I just think that when I said what happens with Ottawa will either be them turning it around or it'll be an indictment of who they really are. And unfortunately, I think it's an indictment of who they really are.
Yeah.
This offense will be fumbling and bumbling all the way through as they find their way with Jason Hogan, who does not have a QB like Trevor Harris or Bo Levi Mitchell or even Nathan Rourke at this point that he can depend on consistently to get a good performance out of.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a C as well, and but like it's always tale of two tapes, right? You got the first half where the offense looks unstoppable, and then it's like, do they make adjustments or do the other team make adjustments? And then all of a sudden the Bombers' offense is terrible, right? Because what do they score in Ottawa? Just that 7 and then the field goal. They got one touchdown because they started at midfield basically, and then the field goal again. And you're attempting a 57-yarder because that's as close as you can get as well on offense. So yeah, to me it's like you got glimpses of what this offense could possibly be, or teams are just figuring things out and going, okay, they're doing this, and now let's simplify it, and we're going to do this on defense, and all of a sudden the Bombers are like, ooh, shit, what's going on here? I can't figure this out.
Yeah. So, like,
So
as a total grade, looking back at just what we talked about with Mike O'Shea going for that field goal, Jason Hogan. I love Jordan Younger, by the way.
yeah,
What would you give coaching a grade?
probably the whole thing would be a C, C minus even a bit, because there's stuff that some coaches have done well, and then there's O'Shea that I'm questioning a lot with O'Shea this year. Not that I want him gone or anything like that, not
Oh,
even
yeah,
close
yeah,
to
yeah.
it. But his decision making this year has been kind of suspect, and all that kind of stuff. I like the job that Mike Miller's done. Besides that field goal return, right, on special teams, he's done a pretty good job. Jordan Younger's defense not as strong as it was last year. It is giving up more points per game. And maybe that's just not enough depth or what's going on there. But still liking the defense as a whole. And then Hogan, he's learning, right? It's unfortunate for him to be tossed into this kind of season with a Grey Cup at home and stuff like that. So a lot of pressures on his shoulders.
Yeah.
And then you got Zach Claros, who's not playing up to standards really, or what you need sometimes, right? Where he's been up and down this year. Again, good start in that Ottawa game, good first half. But then the second half, it's like, what's going on? Why are you making those throws? Even the interception to end the first half. What's the call there? I don't like it. Even I was listening to that one on the radio, and Doug Brown is like, play it safe, play it safe, play it safe.
Yeah,
And then he's like, oh shit, like just take the three, and maybe that three would have obviously came in handy later. Who knows, right? Obviously, but so yeah, probably a C minus.
Yes, defensive coaching saves that from close to a D, to be honest with you. I think Jordan Younger has done a fantastic job with the tools that he's had at his disposal. We know that this team's always bend but don't break, but they've just been breaking a little more often than we've seen before. Like, they're gonna give up passing yards. They're gonna give stuff up underneath. They're gonna give up those crossing routes. But before, they've usually been making those tackles when they get those receptions on those crossing routes, limiting it to a 7-yard rather than a 14-yard play. Yeah. So hopefully, we just talked about Demerio Houston being brought in. We'll see, maybe, who knows if any other talents being brought in. But I think Jordan Younger, considering the changeover in talent that he had in the offseason and the lack of maybe bringing talent in, I think he's done a great job with the defense, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because there is a lot of plays where guys seem like they're in the right spot.
Yeah.
But tackling has been atrocious this year. You can't put that on coaching. Like we talked about, Kyrie Wilson and Jefferson having Drew Brown for a huge loss. He gets through, completes the first down, and they get the touchdown at the end of that. Right. And how many second and longs were on that drive? At least 2. So yeah, execution hasn't been there, and the tackling has been, I don't know. I said atrocious. It could be worse than that.
What are you going to give special teams?
I'm going to give him a B. Besides that kick return off that missed field goal, they've been pretty good. Like you said, Sheehan's had a good year. Castillo's been good year. Kick coverage has been good. Vaval has looked good. Peyton Logan's coming back too now, so we'll see what that does. But yeah, they've been a solid, probably the best group of the bunch.
Oh, I'm giving them an A. The returning game has been steady. The cover game has been solid. Winnipeg is ranked second in the league overall in special teams when combined all the stats together. I can't really complain. I'm going to give them an A.
Right on.
Continuing on the midpoint season, who is your Blue Bomber MOP at the midway point of the season? I'm going to go with Willie Jefferson. Dude's a one-man wrecking crew on the defensive side of the ball. The blocks, the sacks, the strips, the tackles. He's also the emotional leader of the team, playing by example. Everyone has to, he's the standard that everyone measures him up to. His energy fuels his defense and the entire stadium. We see it and experience it on game day. It's no joke. So I'm going to go with Willie Jefferson as MOP.
Not Sergio?
Well, he's great too, but I'm still going to go Willie Jefferson. It's always going to be hard for me to give it to a kicker over a defensive end when it comes to the end of the day. I love kickers. I used to kick myself, but I'm going to go Willie Jefferson, brother.
It's funny, as a Niner fan, there was Dave Akers was their kicker for a few years. And I can't remember if they're actually, this might have been the Harbor year. So they were good, but a lot of field goals. And I think Dave Akers got the MVP or whatever of the Niners that year, kind of thing. And I'm like, when you're giving it to a kicker, that's something. Great job by Sergio for sure. And he's probably up there, but I'm going to give it to Nick Dembski. We talked about him earlier. Great season. Clutch. The guy has been around. He's there when the Bombers needed it. He needed a big catch late in that game to get another 17 yards, I think, or 15 yards off that catch to kick a closer field goal. He's been there, and really, you lost Dalton Schoen, you got Wheatfall and Clercius, who are second-year guys, and there's really nobody else, right? It's Dembski's got to kind of lead the way, and a lot of weight on his shoulders. So I'm going to go with Nick.
Bomber fans, Put your thoughts on the midway point season MOP in the comment section below. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button. Let's move on to this week's game in Montreal against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I tried. That was horrible. French immersion failed me. It has failed me. Remember that clown in those movies, man, that we had in French class?
What
Oh,
was that again?
what an annoying weird dude. There's no way they made those and weren't on acid. No way.
I'm surprised you don't remember his name. You usually remember stuff like that.
I know. I'm trying to forget it. I'm trying to forget it. Let's move on to the Bomber blueprint against the Montreal Alouettes. Let's start with the offense. This is going to be a war of attrition on the line. You know, this is one of few games where the Bombers may not be able to depend on getting Oliveira going. And this might be one of those depend on the short passing game to set up the deep balls, especially with Dalton Schoen coming back, especially with Stearns now being found as a possible explosive weapon. And seeing also how explosive Oliveira can be coming out of the backfield of a receiver. You know, I think this is something the Bombers should really focus on. And maybe that opens up the big plays because they're currently the second least amount of big plays in regards to the passing game. And that's no coincidence that leads to being the second least amount of red zone opportunities with the third lowest touchdown scoring drive conversion percentage in the CFL. They need to fix that. So they need to be surgical and maybe set up the big game, and they got to score touchdowns.
Yeah, they besides that Edmonton game, the big plays haven't really hit, right?
No.
We saw Clarles trying it against Calgary. Dalton Schoen's not playing. He's out. Still out.
See?
But Peyton Logan is back. So, you know, they're going to have to, hopefully they got some plays drawn up for this guy because Montreal's got and they got some injuries, but they got a great front seven, right? Yeah. Marc-Antoine Duquois is out and Mustafa Johnson are out for Montreal. So that definitely helps. The Montreal D hasn't played as well lately, but they got some dogs back there. And we know Lemon, Sankey, those guys usually have good games. Tyrese Beverett against the Bombers, right? So the Bombers offense, has to get it going. And if you're going to have to use Logan and maybe Oliveira on the field at the same time, mix things up. I don't want to say it, but this feels like a must-win game for the Bombers just because you got 2 games against Saskatchewan coming up, and we've seen Saskatchewan now playing well. And usually Labor Day, Saskatchewan plays that game well, no matter how good they're doing. But right now they're at the top of the league. So Bombers really need to get this win, especially when you're probably facing a 4th-string quarterback.
Man, I thought Schoen was playing.
No, just announced earlier today, but
shit.
At least he would possibly be back for Labor Day, right?
And of course, on offense, I gotta implore them to use the heavy set and the trips receivers. Like, this defense is not that good right now. 382 yards passing last week, 289 against Fajardo, 289 against Trevor Harris. So there are yards out there to be had and deep plays. Deep plays. Montreal might only allow 1 or 2, but they got to capitalize on those opportunities. Like, they'll get that look to Dembski like they did one-on-one deep. Caleros has got to hit those.
Yeah, with Decoy out, I mean, that's huge for the Bombers.
Yes. And why don't they, again, from last week, why don't they use Ellie as a tight end? And not just goal line situations.
There was one play last week where they did bring the heavy set. And again, I was listening on the radio, and they ran the opposite way.
Yeah.
And it went for nothing.
How is that nonsense?
I was like sitting there with my hands up in the air, staring at the radio going, what?
Oh, that's been so many times this year. Hands in the air. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Let's move on to the defense. I'm still pissed that Schoen isn't playing. What does the defense have to do? What's their blueprint to win the game this week?
Yeah, I guess they don't know what they're getting at quarterback, right? Is it James Morgan, who actually had some decent numbers against BC? Put up over 200 yards. Is it going to be now they signed Shea Patterson? Cameron Dukes is there, and I feel like Cameron Dukes, he played good against the Bombers before. Shea Patterson could have some revenge factor in there against the Bombers, but they're going to have to go after this guy, whoever it is. You're going to have possibly a rookie or someone who doesn't have as much experience. Get after them. The Bomber D kind of made Crum look like a superstar. a bit, and that's a lot of it had to do with missed tackles.
Yep.
So that clean that up. Missed tackles cannot happen. And you know what? Cover Tyler Snead. Because the Bombers have had trouble downfield with guys, and Tyler Snead is going to be that guy. Montreal has a lot of injuries,
No
especially
Philpott.
no Philpott. Austin Mack is obviously out.
No.
They got a lot. Bombers got to take advantage of this because they need this victory.
They got to confuse that kid with different looks. We were talking about last week how they need to simplify this defense. Maybe just get a spread of zone and let the QB try and figure out where the holes are. And it's good that they got pressure from the front four last week because that really helps a simplified zone. So I hope they do the same thing again because that was really effective and it really reduced the amount of 30 plus yards play, like we talked about earlier. One all game last week. So if they can continue to get pressure with a 4 and 3 man front and allow Tony Jones and the rest of the linebackers to roam in the middle of the field and take away those crossing routes, I think they'll be in a good position to win and hopefully create some turnovers.
Yeah, they got one last game. Obviously, we talked about that too, right?
Yep.
Have you seen another team as bad as the Bombers blitzing? When I see teams bring 6 guys or something, they're getting through. The Bombers, when they do it, nobody's getting through.
Did they blitz last game?
They had a few big ones in the second half there, and they just weren't getting there.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know why they do it.
Variety. Variety. And the thing is, when the Bombers get turnovers, more than likely they convert those into points.
Yeah.
Montreal's number one at scoring off of turnovers. Bombers aren't there with the amount, but when they do get those turnovers, they get points off them. They're up there with league leaders in scoring off turnovers. So they got to get turnovers and they got to convert those into points. Minus 11 in a turnover ratio. That's not a Bomber team.
No, that's terrible.
Special teams, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see. I don't want to see Vival taken off the punt or kick returns, but I'm excited to see what maybe Logan can bring. I did see a tweet by Bob Irving today, though, about the dynamic of Logan, but he's also fumbled a lot lately. So I'm not looking forward to that. Get a good return game. Letcher is also out for Montreal, so
thank goodness.
Yeah, so hopefully they can stuff the return game out for Montreal. And again, Sergio, we know what he can do.
Yeah, just stay consistent on special teams. James Lesher Jr. is as deadly as Pimpleton.
Yeah.
If not more. So, you don't never want to see some dude injured, but thank goodness for the Bombers' sake.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Bomber fans, put your comments in the comment section below. Please subscribe. Tell us who you think is going to win this week's game. Give us a score. Give us your prime performer of the game. Let's move on to some CFL talk. CFL Power 4. Who do you got? 1, 2, 3, and 4.
You want to start at 4 or you want to start at 1, 2, 3? Which one?
Let's go 4. Who do you got at 4?
I'm putting Calgary at number 4. Only 2 losses, or not only 2 losses, but 2 losses game with Vernon Adams out. They played the Bombers. Yeah, it was a little bit tough victory for them, but they pulled it out in the end. So I still got them at 4.
I got Calgary at 4 as well. If their defense has a bad day, I don't believe in them. I got BC Lions at number 3. They look really good. Their offense is looking good. Their defense is looking better. Not necessarily good, but it looks like they're getting better. It looks like they're in the middle of some kind of process, and the process is moving forward. So I'll go BC Lions at 3.
Yeah, I got BC there as well, and I agree basically what you're saying. And even the defense-wise, the game against Hamilton, shootout a couple weeks ago, right? Even Montreal, like I said, this James Morgan put up over 200 yards coming in after Caleb Evans got hurt. So yeah, they're still giving up the yards out there. So bit suspect still on that D. We'll see.
So neither of us have the Bombers in the top 4. Oof.
Doesn't look like it.
Who do you got 1 and 2? I'm pretty sure it's the same because of last week's game.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. And Hamilton, I got at number 2. And they were on a roll. It's funny, we've mentioned teams, and every time we say they're the team to beat, they've kind of gone downhill. So Saskatchewan fans, apologize probably in advance here. But Hamilton at number 2, couple, shootout against BC. Looked shaky last week against a better defense, which Saskatchewan has. So we'll see how they do in the next few weeks, but Hamilton's sitting 2 for me right now.
Yeah, I never noticed that whoever we crown is usually going to fumble for the next little while. So I'm going to crown Saskatchewan hard. They're the kings of the CFL. They are trending big time. They
Yeah.
dominate. There's no one even close right now to Saskatchewan with only
Trevor Harris, MOP.
Yeah, let's crown them hard. Who's in line for another sim game losing? Never mind. CFL fans, let's hear who your power four is. Actually, let's see, because you're going to type it out and we'll read it.
Yep.
Thoughts on the Argos Lions displacement for 2026? It's good to hear that BC is looking to stay in the province and perhaps even stay on the mainland. But Toronto leaving the city and province and playing their games in these prairie markets where the teams don't need any financial help is right stupid. Yep. They are leaving a market where they're going to have an additional 300 to 400,000 people there. Why not go to Hamilton and just do it already? If you're looking for an established stadium, at the worst, go to Hamilton. Get on a GO train, get there. Go to Brampton, use their cricket stadium, put some temporary seats up. Go to Windsor, use their stadium. There are lots of opportunities in the region to grow the Toronto Argos, and Maple Leaf Sports and the CFL are fucking it up again.
Yep. No question there. It's the same thing. Like, well, there's got to be places around there that they could figure this out and play there, right? Why are you traveling? If that's the case, then make these all away games. Like, you're obviously, it's pretty much half a season that they're going to be displaced here, right? Or for the first whatever it is, just play. You might as well just play 6 road games to start the season, and then play a back half of 6 home games straight. What's the difference of what's the point of playing a home game in Winnipeg? And then what? You're playing in Toronto, or like you're still going to come back later in the season and play Winnipeg again at home? Yeah. I don't even understand why this is out already with this. You know, until that schedule gets made, you could have had different options and say, hey, we're going to play somewhere else in Ontario, somewhere else here, anywhere. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense to me. And to me, how is this going to affect free agency as well? When guys are going to see this, go, okay, we're going to have 3 more road games, you know, on top of everything else. Why am I going to sign here? You know, so I feel like that's going to affect them as well. Like you said, BC's, you know, nothing really announced on them. So they're probably going to do it right and stick in Vancouver or BC to play these games. I mean, so yeah, terrible decision here, and so early to be making this decision.
Maple Leaf Sports again, just being a disappointment and a failure.
Are they getting the gates? I guess, is that why? So they'll make the Bombers sell it out 30,000. They'll get whatever from that, everything.
I don't know,
minus whatever the expenses it takes to run the stadium. I guess I don't know. Terrible choice. Again, the CFL, man, just when you think maybe they could be turning the corner and making better decisions with a new commissioner, it's still the same old CFL.
How can you even think of leaving the province when you have all those tourists there? Looking for things to do when they're waiting for their team to play. How can you even think of leaving that market?
Yeah, exactly. You can gain new fans, even if they're from somewhere else, another country, another continent. Didn't matter. You could gain another fan that will, you know, start watching your brand of football.
Yeah. You're not telling me that's not worth building a 20,000 seat stadium somewhere?
Yeah.
That's all you need? Because you know you got 13,000 coming on the regular. You're telling me you can't pull 7,000 from that crowd and make it look good on TV and provide a great environment for an Argo home game? Are you effing kidding me?
And it's for the CFL as well, right? Because you got this global initiative. This was your chance. You're going to have people from all over the world coming to watch these games. You know, why would you not showcase a CFL game that they can go watch?
This boggles my mind. Opportunity after opportunity, CFL fumbles leagues to grow the game.
Yep.
Fumbles leagues, whatever. I'm just
Sounded
lost. Good. I'm just lost. Let's do something a little more fun to end off the show. CFL fans, Put your comments in the comment section below about how the CFL might be, or probably is, or maybe you don't think they are fumbling an opportunity to grow the game during World Cup month or whatever it is. Let's do something fun now. We're going to choose one player for each scenario. We're going to do this quickly. Don't have to give a big why. Game-winning kick from 40 yards in the CFL. Who are you going with?
Sergio Castillo.
Agreed. There's no other question. This will be interesting. 2-minute drill QB. Who are you going with?
Let's add some more praise. Trevor Harris. Wow. Right now, he's clutch, man. He's playing well.
I'm going to go with Vernon Adams. I like him in a 2-minute drill. Big play. VA still exists in my mind. Catch the last play in a Hail Mary. Who are you going with?
Kenny Lawler, man. That guy can get some air and catch that ball.
I agree. Kenny Lawler could be it, but I actually chose Geno Lewis. Something about that vet on game day when I'm going to throw that last pass. I want Geno Lewis there.
Just to say, I did have Lawler/Lewis on my notes,
and I had Lawler just in case. Who would you take to cover that receiver? Either Geno Lewis and Kenny Lawler on that last play. I'm going to take Tyrell Ford. I'm a little biased, Canadian. Yes, he played with the Bombers. I don't think guys are throwing towards his side that much this year. I think that's why his interception numbers are low. I'm going to take Tyrell Ford.
Big one last game, right? Or was it the game before that he got?
He took one at 86-yarder for last game.
Was it last game? Yeah. I'm again praising Saskatchewan here. Roland Milligan. Go with him. He's again another solid season coming from him.
Reigning defensive player of the year, huh?
What? Did he win it last year? Defensive player of the year?
Milligan?
Yeah.
It wasn't Beverett.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, that's right.
Who's gonna throw that Hail Mary pass in your mind?
Bo Levi Mitchell. That guy's still got a beautiful deep ball.
I'm gonna go with Bo Levi too. And who's gonna rush the passer on that last Hail Mary play? I'm gonna take Jake Ceresna. I know he's not necessarily an end, but I remember him from the Grey Cup, and he got one of his last sacks. So I'm gonna take Jake Ceresna.
I'm gonna go with our boy Willie Jefferson on that one.
Big play too. He always gets a big play. Let's talk about last game. Return, missed field goal, last play, tie game. Who are you gonna take to return that out of the end zone?
I guess, and logic would say Pimpleton, just because he just took one, but I'm still gonna take Janarian Grant.
Yeah, Janarian Grant, unquestionable. Last one, running back at the goal line, not QB. Maybe I knocked someone out by saying that. But I'm talking about final push. You have to give it to running back. I'm going to give it to Brady Oliveira from the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah, I'm going to totally agree on that one as well. No question. I mean, Dietrich Mills would be another one, big solid guy kind of thing. But yeah, Brady for me.
I also had Ouellette on there.
Oh yeah, another big solid guy, yeah.
CFL fans, put your choices on that. Game-winning kick, 2-minute drill QB, catch last play Hail Mary, cover that receiver, throw that last Hail Mary, rush the passer on that last Hail Mary, return a missed field goal, and running back at the goal line. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Benny, what do you have to say to our friends?
Yeah, for sure. Subscribe. Don't forget. Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget to have a good week. Have a good week, and go Bombers, go.
Yes, and the words of Ed Whalen in the meantime, and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.